The times are always changing. The only question is, how are you keeping up with the times?
Let's talk about how salespeople need to adapt in order to be more effective.
What you have to do is start to think about it in terms of how can you serve your customer better? Because big corporations have numbers, and the salesperson gets a goal and thinks to himself, "Look, there's no way I can do this." And the reason is he's got no relationships with his customers. He's a bidder, or he's a proposal sender. I don't send proposals. If you want to do business with me, I'll send you an email, and you say okay. And there's many times when I was doing consulting, I would sit with the CEO, and he would say, "Well, that really sounds great. Send me a proposal." I go, "No, I'm not going to send you a proposal." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, were you taking notes while we were talking?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let me sign the notes." And I go sign the notes for the guy and say, "All we have to do is really pick a day to start." And that was my close. But the bottom line was, I have a strategy and I have a style, and most people are not assertive enough to be able to exert that style. I'm not aggressive. I'm assertive. Big difference. Aggressive people tell. Assertive people ask. Aggressive people go for the sale. Assertive people go for the customer.
Today, it's no longer one decision maker, but 4 or 5 different people that all collaboratively say yes.
Except for one thing. Oftentimes, there's a person who's responsible for gathering the information. Then there may be 3 or 4 people that sit around a table and talk about who or what. And then they have to go to their daddy and say, "Hey, daddy, this is what we think. What do you think?" And daddy says, "Yeah," or mommy. And daddy says, "I don't like these people." And they go, "Oh, okay, well then never mind." So those decision makers are only recommenders in the final analysis. And if you don't have the attention of the person who pulls the trigger, they're the person who's responsible to make the budget, not spend the budget. And they're the one who's going to be responsible, and this is a very key word, Gerhard, for the outcome of what happens. I'm not buying a product or a program. I want the outcome.
Exactly. So how should salespeople use technology?
The first thing they need to do is be the master of their smartphone. If they're not the master of their smartphone, they're missing out on what's next. This is also what's next. This is an iPad. If you don't have an iPad, you need to get down to the store and buy one. And salespeople go, "Well, my boss won't buy me an iPad." Dude, you have your own money now. Invest in yourself. An iPad and an iPhone or some tablet or some smartphone, that's the future of selling and training. I'm going to get my training when I want it on demand. I don't want it at 2 o'clock on Thursday. I want it 24/7, 365. I want to be able to go into a sales call, sit in the lobby for 10 minutes, stick my headset on, and take a lesson. What are the 5 questions I'm going to ask this customer when I walk in the door? How am I going to position myself? Where should I sit? What should I talk about? Where's the value? What's my value proposition? What's my opening statement going to be? Something that helps me walk into that sales call and walk out with an order.
What apps do you use on your iPhone or on your iPad?
I use Dragon Voice to Text. Actually, this book, 21.5 Unbreakable Laws of Selling, was entirely written by Dragon. I think it's probably most important to understand that if you don't own the technology, you can never master the technology.
You're a master at social media, so what can we learn from Jeff Gitomer about use of social media?